Hi everyone, I'm John. Welcome back to my channel. A few months ago, well maybe a month ago, I showed a video where I went back to my library and I showed a shelf. And one of the shelves on that bookcase has something that is not books on it. It's a shelf completely devoted to something else entirely, and that is perfume. And I had a few people express some interest in what I had there. I just sort of cursorily went over it because I was just focusing on books and asking you how I should plan a future library tour, which will be coming eventually. But there was enough interest that I just wanted to share some of the stuff that I had on the shelf. You'll notice I'm not back in that room because, frankly, the lighting isn't that great, and also there's a lot of stuff on the shelf that it would take me half an hour to move it all in here. And what I really wanted to do was just pick my absolute favorites. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, these aren't my favorites from the entire shelf. Since, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, what we're doing is coming into the colder months. In fact, later this week we have a cold front here in South Central Texas expected. What I'm going to do is talk about some of the fragrances that I like to wear most during cool and cold months of the year. So this usually takes me from November through about February, if I'm lucky, maybe March. And a lot of this stuff, just a heads up, will not be stuff you can find in a department store because they're not brand names, they're not everyday designer names. I like perfume a lot, so I tend to go off the radar for stuff just to seek out the things I love the most. And I find a lot of the stuff on the market that you find broadly distributed on a large level kind of smells the same. That there are a lot of similarities from perfume to perfume. So I largely go off the grid. There are a couple of exceptions here, and I'll point those out as you go. But let me just jump right in. There are probably 15 or 20 that I want to show you, and these are just my favorites. They're not all of them. What I'll do, maybe when it starts to warm up in 2024, is do warm/hot fragrances. So as we're going into spring and it starts to warm up, I'll do that if there is any interest. I did show classical music CDs on here once, and that video got a lot of views. So you might like this one too. However, if you're just here for the books and only books, feel free to skip this video. I will not be talking about books in this video. So, first up, there is a fragrance house that I discovered, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. They're out of Birmingham, England. And it is a fragrance house called Maison. He doesn't put the, okay, so he put the name of the house that he used to call it is, oh goodness, it's Abdul Karim Al Faransi. And this particular one is called Amber 4000. And he is a Muslim guy, born in France, I think, French speaking, by the way. Al Faransi, and the name means the French, the Frenchman. And he makes perfume. He makes oud, and he makes a whole bunch of mukalat, which are more classically sort of mixed fragrances. And this is a mukalat. It is an amber, and I don't wear it too much, as you can tell. These are oils. They are not Western alcohol-based fragrances. So all you do is you sort of dab them at pressure points, maybe behind your ears, or put it in your beard or something, if you have a beard. It will last all day. All you need is 2 or 3 drops, uh, and it's beautiful. It's a very woody, sort of skanky amber fragrance that I really, really, really love. But he makes a lot that I love, so I just want to go through other things really quickly. Same company, slightly bigger bottle. This is called Sheikh Afransi, and this is, usually don't have to open these to smell them. This is chocolate, rose, honey, ambergris. It's beautiful. It's so gorgeous. It's one of the things that he sent me to review when I first contacted him several years ago, and I used to have a perfume channel long ago in another life where I reviewed stuff. But this is absolutely gorgeous. By the way, on his site, samples are not exactly cheap. I think they go for about 10 euros a piece. Get a little vial like this. But they are beautiful. So if you have any questions about individual ones or want to contact me for more details about what they smell like, I can send you his website or whatever. No, he's not paying me. No, he doesn't know I'm talking about this on the internet. But the site is still up and running, and he's still selling them. Let's see. Jakarta. This is a rose oud that I love so much. I have basically gone through all of it. I love rose and I love oud. Oud is a fragrance that's worn all over the Middle East. It is extracted from a particular kind of tree called an aquilaria tree when its bark is damaged, usually by some sort of a weather event or maybe an animal running into it or something. It's part of the tree's natural immunological response to injury. And it kind of is like a sap-like thing, but it smells really interesting. And different ouds from different parts of the world smell distinctly different. So there's Indonesian oud, and there's Indian oud, and there's Thai oud, and there's Laotian oud, etc., etc. And they all have their own sort of unique notes and their own unique sort of things going on. Some are green, some are really fecal smelling, some are smooth and buttery and woody, but this is a rose oud, which absolutely, I don't know if he still makes this. It's amazing. This is Mukalat Alfaransi. I promise I'm going to try to get through all of these Faransi fragrances in a second. This is his leather. It is straight up new leather jacket inside of a nice leather car. Strong, pungent, beautiful leather. I love it, but it doesn't take much, and it projects off of your skin for all day. So I want to show that this is not an ad for this one company. This is another fragrance. This is Amber Afghani. This is kind of a more floral amber. And this is Baghdad, which is another rose oud. Which, as you can tell, I love rose ouds because this is almost gone as well. All right, so his name is Anthony Marmin, I think. Check him out, Sheikh Abdul Al-Faransi. So, a company out of the United States, Seattle, to be more specific, is Olympic Orchids. And the woman who owns and runs it is actually an academic. She does mammalian physiology or mammalian psychology, and she studies the echolocation in bats, I think, at the University of Washington. But just as a little side gig, as you will, she makes amazing perfume. Absolutely spectacular perfume. And one of them is a series that she did. They're called the Dev series, and I think they're based off of ideas of the devil. So this is Dev 1. This is smells like birch tar and styrax and cinnamon. It's very autumnal and dark and great for cold weather because it just projects off of the skin. This is much more cinnamon-like and has a couple of floral notes. This is Dev 2. And I think I detect a bit of rose as well. Very nice, very similar. And you can just Google Olympic orchids. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Olympic orchids, and the site will pop right up. She also sells orchids. So she just does everything. She makes tons of other things besides these two scents as well. So I talked about, before I forget about this thing over here, I talked about most of this stuff not being available at sort of department store you go to down the road. And this is one of the exceptions. This is Antaeus Pour Homme by Chanel. I think everyone knows Chanel. This is a big, bold, leathery, woody, sort of beautiful, really, really masculine scent. Perfect for cold days. Really, really beautiful, I think. And I happened to find when I was scrounging around on eBay several years ago, when I used to look for this stuff on eBay, there was an older bottle of it. I think this is from maybe close to when it first came out, but this is a vintage bottle of Antaeus. So I like to save this. It's much more pungent, it's much more animalic, it has a lot more punch than the more contemporary versions. But this is beautiful stuff too. A little bit worn because of course it's older. See, I have a couple of decants. Let me show those. This is another, I think you could find this at some stores as long as they're maybe like a Saks or Neiman Marcus or something like that. This is from Tom Ford. This is his private line. This is, can you see it? It's Tuscan leather. Tuscan leather has a reputation for being, well, let's say, some people say it smells like cocaine. I'll just come out and say it. Some people say it smells like cocaine. I have no idea what cocaine smells like, so can neither confirm nor deny. But it's a really beautiful, subtle leather with a bit of sweetness at the top, kind of a berry-like sweetness. Not sugary sweet, but also not a leather that would sort of hit you over the head either. It's really nice. Also, like I said, as you could probably expect for Tom Ford, it's a bit expensive. So this I found at a really good price, but I enjoy the scent, but I don't wear it very often because it's a bit dear. And then another one, oh, I love this so much. Another brand you'll be familiar with is Dior. This is from their higher end collection. It's called La Collection Privée, and this is leather oud. Remember, oud was that thing I told you about that comes from the Aquilaria tree, and this is basically just a mixture of leather and oud. It is dark and animalic and skanky and beautiful, and on a really, really cold day, there's not much better than smelling this just slowly wear down on your skin. But like I said, I'm going to gush about all of these because they are all some of my favorites. Two more small bottles. This is back to more niche, not so much mass market fragrance. This is a perfume from Andy Tower, his Towerville line, and this is called. He did a series, which I think he still makes, called the Flash series. And basically what it is it's a take on a single note of something. They are, of course, mixed perfumes. They're not just, some essential oil mixed with alcohol. They are mixtures, but they're supposed to be an interpretation of a singular scent or a singular scent memory. And this is his take on rose. This is a very, it's not a rose that's going to have maybe a lot of mass appeal, especially a lot of mass appeal to men, because it's very sweet, it's very sugary, it's very jammy, it's very thick, and it lasts on clothes for probably a day or two. But in cold weather, it changes and it does something really magical, and I really, really enjoy it. I'm usually not a fan of really sickeningly sweet, and I don't think it's sickeningly sweet, but it is rather sweet of those kinds of roses. But there's something about this, there's just enough spice in it or woodiness in it that makes me really enjoy it. And there's one more Tower fragrance. This is Incense Flash. And Incense Flash is his take on what I can only imagine to be, stepping into a Catholic church and smelling that thick cloud of incense. It's very, very petrol-like, gasoline-like. It's got if you are familiar with the Dior brand perfume Fahrenheit for men, it's very much like that. So, except I'm not a huge fan of Fahrenheit. I like this a bit more because it's more on the incense side and less on the gasoline side. But it is pure Catholic Church incense in a bottle. All right. So, another company I really love. They are also on the pricey side. I managed to find this 5 or 6 years ago before prices for everything started going through the roof. This is maybe one of the, maybe if not pretty, at least garish bottles in my collection. This is from the company Amouage. And this is, does it say on, okay, it does. This is Journey Man. Now, it doesn't say man on there, but there's also a Journey Woman. This is their journey that is for men. It is spicy, dark, peppery. There's black and white and pink pepper in it. Wood, oud. It's one of my favorite scents of all time. And despite the fact that it's ridiculously expensive, I will probably try to track it down on the gray market again. Thankfully, I only wear it for maybe 2 or 3 months a year, so I still have, of course you can't tell how much I have left, but I think I still have more than half of it left. Lasts all day, 2 days on clothes. It's gorgeous, and I love it. If you like dark scents, dark, brooding, masculine stuff, it's gorgeous. All right, where to go next? What about Eldo? Eldo is what people, affectionate fans of Etat Libre d'Orange, ELDO, Eldo, call that company. Etat Libre d'Orange is French for the Free State of Orange, of course, and they make several perfumes, a few of which I have in my collection, but this is the only one I like for cool or cold weather, and it is called Rien. Rien is the French for the word nothing, and Eldo likes to be very playful with the way that they name their perfumes. They're a very, very playful company. And what I mean when I say that is, this is a big, bold, churchy incense that lasts not a day, not 2 days, probably 3 or 4 days on clothes. It's the strongest perfume I think I've ever smelled in my life. And one spray, if you just sort of walk into it, spray it in the air and walk into it, will do most people. And I've had this bottle for 3 or 4 years. Bought a bottle for someone else, and he absolutely loves it as well. We both wear it together all the time, but beautiful, beautiful. I don't know if this is the this is the large bottle. They also sell in a 50 mil. This is 100 mil, but I was at one point thinking whether I would be able to get through this thing in my entire life, but I gave a lot of it away before I bought the other bottle. This is gorgeous. This is really, really beautiful. And a lot of these companies, like I said, if you're curious about this stuff, buy sample. Go to the website, buy sample. I know they have samples of this at Etat Libre d'Orange. So let's do this. This is by Rognier Parfumeur, and this is Tea Habanero. This is inspired by Cuba, obviously. Habaneros are what I think this like the demonym for people from Havana. You call them habaneros. It is a woody, tobacco-ish, slightly honeyed, slightly sweet, spicy, beautiful. And when I say tobacco, don't think burning cigarette tobacco. That's not it. I mean the fresh leaf, slightly dried or fresh, really, at least in my opinion, beautiful. But I know when a lot of people hear the word tobacco, they think of like cigarette smoke, and that's most certainly not what I'm talking about. But you can buy samples of this off of a site called Lucky Scent. Just Google Lucky Scent, and they have hundreds of different kinds of niche brands like this, and they carry Rognier. Let's do another maybe a more recognizable brand. This is Hermes. I don't know if you can see the H there a little bit, and the sort of recognizable bowler hat there. This is Belle Amie. One of the first fragrances I bought maybe 9 or 10 years ago when I first started collecting and enjoying them. This really reminds me of, it has a kind of furniture polish, dark, woody, hard to put into words, but if you like, there's also a bit of orange in it that I detect, which kind of gives the, in combination with the woodiness and the darkness, can obviously give off that polishy vibe. But I mean, in the best sense of the word, it's not gross, it doesn't smell like wood polish, it's just reminiscent of it, if if that helps at all. Hermes doesn't make bad perfume, so if you doubt me, just if you find yourself next to an Hermes store, try it out. And I think this is the only Guerlain fragrance I have. Here's another recognizable brand, probably. Ooh, can you make that out? It's Guerlain. Guerlain. And this is... Does it have it? It doesn't have it anywhere on the bottle except on the bottom. But it's Coriolan, like the Coriolanus from Shakespeare, but without the US at the end. I don't even know if they make this, to be honest. I think they came out with this in the late 80s or early 90s. It's really nice, but I bought it mostly for the bottle. It's beautiful. It's like a green, woody sort of thing, but the bottle and this little thing is really, really nice. Sort of the height of, what elegance would have been in the 1970s or 1980s. I don't know. I like it. Oh yeah, I put that aside. Okay, so there's another perfume guy out there. His name is Victor Wong, and he has a company called Zoologist Perfumes, as in the people who study, animals. And every single scent at Zoologist Perfume is named after an animal and sort of inspired by that animal and or the environment that they live in and around. Now, this has since been reformulated, so I don't think you can get the exact same version, but it's worth visiting the site simply because of the fascinating range of stuff you can find there. Again, samples available for everything. This is Rhinoceros, and this was made by Paul Kyler, who is a wonderful perfumer, and he created the original Rhinoceros. They all have these sort of little cameo portraits of the artist. They have, maybe 50, 60 different animals now. They have a hummingbird. They have just all kinds of neat stuff. This is a very rummy, woody, strong, lot of projection. It's on the alcoholic side because it has kind of a rum might not be the alcohol of choice that I'm looking for, but it's beautiful. It's very leathery, which I guess is what came to his mind when he thought of a rhinoceros. But it's beautiful. It's dark and sort of arid smelling, so sort of evokes an African landscape. Really nice. I smelled a sample and immediately thought I needed a bottle, so I bought one. Okay, almost finished. There is a company called Histoire de Parfum, and here is how you spell it. Okay. Histoire de Parfum, and they make a lot of sense with a year in the title. So, for example, 1828 or 1876, which are actually two perfumes that I have in the other room that are for warmer weather, and I'll be showing you in a few months when I do the other video. The one I really, really love from them that I love for cool weather, cold weather especially, is called, and by the way, I love the way they do their bottles. They don't just do a smaller bottle, they just do half of a bottle. So this half is missing. Love it. And The thing is, you are supposed to, because histoire means story, right? Which connected with books, the only book connection you'll see in this video. So you are supposed to be able to sort of line them up on a shelf and see what you have. And as you can tell, what I have right here is noir patchouli. You might be able to tell the notes there. Top notes, patchouli, coriander, cardamom. Middle notes of patchouli, a flower bouquet, and base notes of patchouli, musk, vetiver, cuir, which is leather, and vanille, which is vanilla. So a very dark, as you can probably tell, noir, sort of green patchouli that performs exquisitely in cold weather. And one less company from which I have 2 bottles. Let me start off with the one I like less. This is Serge Lutens. And this is Ambre Sultan. This is their amber. To me, amber has a few key ingredients. One of them is labdanum, sort of like a soft kind of vanilla-like thing. This smells mostly like if you ever had a gerbil when you were growing up and you needed cedar chips to put in its little enclosure or tank or whatever you kept it in. This smells like that. This smells like straight up cedar with maybe a little bit of sweetness on top. So it doesn't really ring true as a true amber to me, but it is very nice, and wish it was a bit stronger, but it's a beautiful perfume nonetheless. And the last one, gorgeous. The only reason I save it a bit is because prices have exploded over the last few years, 5 or 6 years, and I really just want to save what I have left so I don't have to spend, 3 figures on another bottle. This is Chergui by Serge Lutens. It is, Chergui is the name of a wind in North Africa. I want to say in the Sahara Desert. It is, I forget which wind, but it is dry with a touch of sweetness, has notes of honey, quite a bit of tobacco, like a cherry kind of sweetness. Don't think hit you over the head 12-year-old girl cherry. It's not that kind of sweet. It's something a bit more subtle and sophisticated than that. But it's really beautiful and lasts forever on your skin. So if you can find this at a reasonable price, or to be honest, anything that's reasonable for you, this is gorgeous if you can get your hands on a sample. Or if you take my word for it, just buy it outright. I'm pretty sure you'd love it. Oh, yeah. Sometimes it gets cold enough here where I live to throw on a scarf or something, and I'll just spray it on my scarf and just live with it all day. Really, really wonderful way to spend the day. But these are some of my favorite cool weather and cold weather fragrances. Sorry for the one-off. It'll eventually be a two-off next year video, but maybe some of you found something that you like here, something that interests you. Let me know in the comments, and I will, if you have any suggestions for the next time I do it, when things start to warm up, let me know. I'd be more than happy to make any adjustments to the video for people who are interested or don't know much about this. Let me know, and I will talk to you later. More books to come, only books to come, I promise. Take care. Bye.